They had crossed an ocean not to conquer, but to end something that had consumed the world. The night was colder than expected. The wind cut through uniforms, through courage, through certainty. Inside the landing craft, no one spoke, because when men are truly afraid, words become useless. Some closed their eyes. Some whispered prayers they had not spoken since childhood. Some stared at the horizon, waiting for a shape that would soon become destiny. It was June 6, 1944, the beginning of Operation Overlord, and for many of them, the last sunrise they would ever see. Would that hours earlier, inside a dimly lit command room, Dwight D. Eisenhower stood silently. Maps covered the walls. Pins marked beaches. Lines marked death. He understood something few men ever face. This decision would send thousands to their graves, or it would free a continent. He looked around the room. Every officer waiting. The weather uncertain. The risk enormous. But history does not reward hesitation. He gave the order. And the largest invasion in human history began to move. Maestic. Across the English Channel, German defenses waited. Concrete. Steel. Guns aimed at the horizon. Yet inside Berlin, Adolf Hitler slept. He believed the attack would come elsewhere. Deception had worked. Inflatable tanks. Fake radio traffic. Ghost armies. The greatest lie of the war would become the greatest opportunity. Back in the landing craft, the sea grew violent. Water slammed against metal. Some soldiers vomited. Others tightened their grip on weapons. One young man held a photograph of his wife. Another touched a letter he had not finished. A veteran beside them whispered quietly, "Remember why you are here." No one answered, because they already knew. Dawn began to break. Gray light spread slowly, and then the coast appeared. At first, only shadows, then cliffs, then bunkers, then flashes of gunfire. The illusion of safety vanished. The war was waiting. The first artillery shells landed. Water erupted into towers of white. The noise was overwhelming. The ramp had not even dropped, and men were already dying. When it finally did, the world became chaos. Machine guns tore through the front lines. Some fell instantly. Others stumbled into deep water and never surfaced. The ocean swallowed fear and replaced it with survival. There was no strategy now. Only movement. Only instinct. Only the desperate need to reach the sand. On Omaha Beach, it seemed impossible. Every step forward met fire. Every second cost lives. Officers shouted commands lost in explosions. Medics crawled through smoke. Bodies lay where courage had carried them. The beach became a storm of sand, metal, and blood. And yet, some kept moving. Because stopping meant death, and moving meant hope. A sergeant gathered survivors behind twisted metal. An engineer cleared a narrow path. A group of soldiers climbed a cliff under fire. They were not heroes in that moment. They were frightened men. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to surrender to it. Meanwhile, in the darkness behind enemy lines, paratroopers fought alone. scattered across fields and hedgerows. Some landed in flooded marshes. Some never regrouped. But those who survived created chaos. Bridges destroyed. Communications cut. German reinforcements delayed. Small actions with enormous consequences. By midday, the impossible began to change. The beaches were no longer only killing grounds. They were footholds. Reinforcements arrived. Tanks rolled forward. Ships continued their thunder from the sea. The line had not broken. It had endured, and endurance changed everything. But victory did not come quickly. Beyond the beaches waited the hedgerows of Normandy. Thick, ancient, deadly. Each field a trap. Each farm a fortress. The war slowed. The price remained high. Days turned into weeks. Fatigue replaced adrenaline. Rain turned soil to mud. Litter's home spoke less of glory and more of survival. Still, the skies belonged to the Allies. Railways destroyed. Fuel convoys burned. Supply lines collapsed. The machine that once conquered Europe was now starving. Whoop. Then came the breakout. Bombers filled the sky. The ground trembled. German defenses shattered. And through the smoke, the Allied armies surged. The road to Paris opened. The liberation of France became reality. Civilians wept. Soldiers embraced strangers. Hope returned. But war does not end when cities are freed. It ends when tyranny collapses. From the east, Soviet forces advanced. From the west, Allied armies pushed forward. The Third Reich shrank. Defeat became inevitable. Inside a bunker in Berlin, the illusion of victory finally died. On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler ended his life. Days later, Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over, but the memory of that morning never ended. Today, the beaches are quiet. Waves touch the shore gently. The wind carries no gunfire, only silence, and rows of white crosses, each one a story, each one a future never lived. If you stand there at sunrise, you might feel something, a presence, a weight, a reminder. Because D-Day was not just a battle. It was a decision. A moment when ordinary men chose to face darkness so others would never have to. They were afraid. They were uncertain. They were human. But they moved forward anyway. And because they did, the world changed. Freedom endured. And the echoes of their courage still move through history, like waves, relentless, eternal, and impossible to silence. Because the truth is, war does not end when the guns fall silent. It lives on in memory, in lessons, in the fragile peace we carry today. So the next time you see the ocean or hear the wind against the shore, remember them. Remember the fear they faced, the courage they found, and the world they helped protect. If this story moved you, if their sacrifice meant something to you, take a moment, honor them. Share this story so their courage is never forgotten. And join us here on Echoes of War, where history is not just told, it is remembered, because the past still speaks, and its echoes are calling. Deb?